Chapter 4. The Evolution of Human Sexuality. 4.1 Sexual Reproduction and Genetic Diversity. Sexual reproduction is a biological process where new individuals are created by combining the genetic material of two different parents. This process increases genetic diversity within a population, which is essential for the survival and evolution of species. Through sexual reproduction, offspring inherit a mixture of traits from both parents, leading to unique combinations of genes in each new generation. The significance of sexual reproduction in promoting genetic diversity cannot be overstated. Genetic diversity is the raw material for evolution. It provides the variation upon which natural selection can act. In changing environments, a population with a wide range of genetic traits has a greater chance of containing individuals with adaptations that may be beneficial for survival. This variation is critical for the long-term survival of species, as it enables adaptability to new threats, such as diseases or climate change. The mechanism of sexual reproduction involves the fusion of gametes, the sperm and the egg. Each gamete carries half the number of chromosomes found in normal body cells. When these gametes fuse during fertilization, they form a zygote with a full set of chromosomes. This combination results in the genetic variation that is evident in sexually reproducing populations. Meiosis is the process by which gametes are produced, and it includes a crucial step known as recombination or crossing over. During meiosis, homologous chromosomes, pairs of chromosomes carrying genes for the same traits, can exchange segments of DNA. This recombination further shuffles the genetic deck, ensuring that each gamete and therefore each offspring is genetically unique. The role of sexual selection in sexual reproduction is another factor that contributes to genetic diversity. Sexual selection occurs when individuals with certain inherited characteristics are more likely than other individuals to obtain mates. This can lead to the development of traits that improve an individual's chances of reproduction, such as elaborate plumage in birds or specific courtship behaviors. Sexual dimorphism, which refers to the differences in appearance between males and females of the same species, is often a result of sexual selection. These differences can be subtle or quite pronounced and are not solely for attracting mates, but can also be a byproduct of the different roles males and females play in reproduction, such as gestation and parental care. Genetic diversity, while beneficial, can also introduce complications. For example, the mixing of genetic material can sometimes result in the expression of deleterious traits or genetic disorders. However, the overall benefit of a diverse gene pool typically outweighs these risks, as it allows populations to adapt over time to changing environments and selective pressures. The maintenance of genetic diversity within a population is a concern for conservation biology. The reduction of diversity due to factors like habitat destruction, overhunting, or environmental change can lead to inbreeding and a decrease in population viability. Conservation efforts often focus on preserving or restoring genetic diversity to ensure the health and resilience of species. Human understanding of sexual reproduction and genetic diversity has profound implications for medicine and agriculture. In medicine, this knowledge helps in understanding the genetic basis of diseases and in developing treatments that are tailored to individual genetic profiles. In agriculture, it informs breeding practices aimed at producing crops and livestock with desirable traits, such as disease resistance or increased productivity. In the context of human populations, sexual reproduction and the resulting genetic diversity have shaped the vast array of physical appearances, abilities, and susceptibilities to certain diseases that characterize our species. The study of human genetics continues to reveal how our reproductive biology has influenced both our evolution as a species and the development of diverse cultures and societies. Sexual reproduction is a fundamental biological process that promotes genetic diversity, driving the evolution of species and enabling them to adapt to an ever-changing environment. The intricate mechanisms of sexual reproduction ensure that each individual is genetically unique, contributing to the rich tapestry of life on Earth. As our understanding of genetics and reproductive biology deepens, so too does our appreciation for the complexity and adaptability of life. 4.2 The role of sex in human evolution. The role of sex in human evolution is a complex and critical topic that intertwines with our biological development and social structures. Sex has driven evolutionary changes by enabling not only the survival of our species through reproduction, but also the enhancement of our genetic fitness over countless generations. This section delves into the multifaceted contributions of sex to the evolutionary journey of humankind. Sexual reproduction has been a fundamental force in human evolution, providing the mechanism through which genetic material is mixed and passed on to succeeding generations. This genetic shuffling has allowed for the introduction of beneficial mutations and the combination of advantageous traits, which have helped humans adapt to a myriad of environmental challenges throughout history. The emergence of bipedalism, or the ability to walk upright, is an evolutionary milestone that has been influenced by sexual selection. Theories suggest that bipedalism may have been an advantageous trait that early humans sought in mates, as it freed the hands for carrying food or tools, potentially leading to more successful offspring and thus becoming a favored trait through sexual selection. Sexual dimorphism, the distinct difference in size or appearance between the sexes of a species, has played a significant role in human evolution. In our early ancestors, differences in size and strength between males and females may have led to varied roles in society and influenced mating strategies. These differences, while less pronounced in modern humans, still reflect the evolutionary pressures that have shaped our development. Human brain evolution has also been linked to sexual behavior. The complexities of human relationships and the need for cooperative parenting may have driven the development of larger brains. Intelligence became an attractive quality, leading to a preference for smarter mates, a process known as sexual selection for intelligence, which contributed to the evolution of our notably large and complex brains. In human evolution, the development of concealed ovulation in females, where there are no obvious signs of fertility, contrasts with many other species. This feature may have promoted pair bonding and paternal investment, as males had to remain with a female for a prolonged period to ensure they fathered offspring, thus supporting the development of monogamous relationships and stable family units. The evolution of menopause in women is a unique aspect of human sexuality. The grandmother hypothesis posits that women evolved to live beyond their fertile years to help care for grandchildren, thus ensuring the survival of their genes. This extension of life past reproductive age is an example of how sex and reproduction can influence the broader social structures and lifespan of a species. The role of sexual signaling and ornamentation in human evolution is evident in traits such as the development of permanent breasts in women and facial hair in men. These traits may have evolved as signals of sexual maturity and health, playing a role in mate attraction and selection. The evolution of human behavior and culture is deeply connected to sex. Sexual relationships and the norms surrounding them have been instrumental in shaping societal structures. For instance, the establishment of marriage and family units has influenced inheritance patterns, social alliances, and community organization, which have all played roles in the survival and success of human societies. The concept of mate choice has had a profound impact on human evolution. The preferences for certain traits, whether physical or behavioral, have guided the evolutionary path of our species. Traits that increase an individual's attractiveness to the opposite sex and lead to more offspring have been passed down through generations, influencing the genetic makeup of the population. The role of sex in human evolution is both foundational and far-reaching. Through the mechanics of sexual reproduction, the forces of sexual selection, and the development of mating systems, sex has been one of the key drivers in shaping the physical and social evolution of humankind. As we continue to learn and discover more about our past, the understanding of sex in the context of human evolution provides invaluable insights into the biological and cultural beings we have become. 4.3 Mating systems, monogamy and polygamy. Mating systems in humans have evolved to include a range of practices, with monogamy and polygamy being the most widely recognized. These systems are deeply embedded in the social fabric and have distinct implications for the structure of families and societies. The prevalence of different mating systems has been influenced by various ecological, biological, and cultural factors throughout human evolution. Monogamy, defined as a mating system in which an individual has only one partner during their lifetime or at any one time, serial monogamy, is often considered the standard in many modern societies. The practice of monogamy is thought to be associated with social factors, such as the need for long-term parental care and investment in offspring, which is typical in species with high offspring dependency, like humans. Historically, monogamy has been linked with certain economic and social advantages. By establishing paternity certainty, monogamy has facilitated the inheritance of property and status, stabilizing family lines and reducing conflict over resources. This system has also been supported by various religious and cultural norms that promote it as a moral ideal. Polygamy, on the other hand, encompasses several forms of multiple mating partnerships, the most common being polygyny, one male with multiple female partners, and polyandry, one female with multiple male partners. Polygamous mating systems are often found in societies with disparate gender ratios or in which economic resources are unevenly distributed. Polygyny has been practiced in various cultures and is often related to social status, where males with more resources can support multiple wives and children, thus enhancing their reproductive success. This system can have profound effects on social dynamics, including the reinforcement of gender hierarchies and the stratification of wealth. Polyandry, though less common than polygyny, is observed in certain cultures and may arise in situations where resources are scarce. By having multiple husbands, a woman can ensure greater economic stability and support for her offspring. Polyandry can also result in reduced competition among males for mates, leading to more stable social units. Both monogamy and polygamy have been subject to criticism and debate. Monogamy has been criticized for not being the natural state for humans and for often failing to prevent infidelity. Polygamy has been criticized for potentially leading to the exploitation and subordination of women, as well as contributing to increased competition and tension among males. Social monogamy, which refers to the social living arrangement of one-to-one partnerships, may not always equate to sexual monogamy. In many societies, social monogamy exists alongside instances of extra-pair mating, which can introduce additional genetic diversity into a population. The impact of mating systems on children and family structures is significant. In monogamous families, children typically receive more balanced investment from both parents, while in polygamous families, resources may be spread thinner, but children can benefit from the support of a larger network of caregivers. In modern societies, the traditional boundaries of mating systems are increasingly blurred. With the rise of non-traditional family structures, open relationships, and the recognition of same-sex partnerships, the diversity of human mating systems is becoming more apparent. These changes reflect broader shifts in social attitudes and the redefinition of what constitutes a family. Human mating systems are diverse and dynamic, shaped by a complex interplay of evolutionary pressures, cultural practices, and individual choices. While monogamy and polygamy represent distinct systems with unique social implications, both have contributed to the social and genetic fabric of human societies. As cultural and economic conditions continue to change, so too will the practices and perceptions of human mating systems. 4.4 Sexual selection, traits and behaviors. Sexual selection is a significant evolutionary force that shapes the reproductive success of organisms. It explains how certain traits and behaviors, which contribute to an individual's mating success, become more common over generations. In humans, sexual selection is responsible for many physical, psychological, and behavioral characteristics that are related to attraction and reproduction. The concept of sexual selection was first introduced by Charles Darwin, who account for evolutionary changes that cannot be explained by natural selection alone. While natural selection refers to the survival of the fittest, sexual selection refers to the reproductive success of the sexiest, or those most adept at attracting mates. This process can lead to the development of traits that may not necessarily be advantageous for survival, but enhance an individual's chances of mating and passing on their genes. Sexual selection operates through two primary mechanisms: mate choice and competition for mates. Mate choice occurs when individuals of one sex, typically females, are choosy about their partners. This choosiness can be based on traits that signal good health, fertility, or the ability to provide resources. In humans, this can manifest in preferences for physical attractiveness, social status, or displays of competence and intelligence. Competition for mates, on the other hand, typically involves members of one sex, usually males, competing with each other for access to the opposite sex. This can result in the evolution of traits like physical strength, aggressiveness, or the ability to intimidate rivals. In human societies, this competition may be less about physical confrontations and more about demonstrating one's social status, wealth, or other attributes that potential mates may find desirable. Sexual dimorphism, which is the difference in size or appearance between males and females of the same species, is often a result of sexual selection. In humans, although sexual dimorphism is less pronounced compared to some other species, it is still evident in physical attributes such as body size, distribution of body hair, and voice pitch. These differences have been hypothesized to evolve partly due to sexual selection pressures. Secondary sexual characteristics, such as facial hair in men and breast development in women, are influenced by sexual selection. These traits may serve as indicators of sexual maturity and health, which can be attractive to potential mates. For instance, in many cultures, a deep voice in men is often associated with higher testosterone levels and has been found to be an attractive trait. Sexual selection is also thought to influence psychological traits and social behaviors. Qualities such as confidence, humor, creativity, and kindness may be attractive because they signal intelligence, good genes, or a capacity to contribute positively to a potential mate's life. These characteristics can play a significant role in partner choice and the dynamics of human courtship. The role of ornamentation and aesthetic traits in human sexual selection is complex. Cultural variations in what is considered attractive, from body art and jewelry to clothing and hairstyles, suggest that human aesthetic preferences are not only biologically driven, but also influenced by cultural trends and norms. Sexual selection can lead to the development of altruistic behaviors if these behaviors increase an individual's attractiveness to potential mates. Acts of kindness and generosity could be seen as signals of good character or an ability to provide for offspring, making them desirable traits in a partner. The concept of good genes hypothesis in sexual selection posits that certain traits are favored because they indicate the genetic quality of potential mates. For humans, this might mean choosing a partner based on physical symmetry, which some studies suggest may be an indicator of genetic fitness and health. Sexual selection is a powerful evolutionary force that shapes a myriad of traits and behaviors in humans. It influences physical characteristics, psychological tendencies, and social interactions, all of which play a role in human attraction and reproduction. The diverse manifestations of sexual selection reflect the interplay between our biological heritage and the cultural context in which we live, highlighting the complexity of human sexuality. 4.5 The Evolution of Human Sexual Anatomy. The evolution of human sexual anatomy is a key aspect of our biological history, intricately linked to reproductive success and the survival of our species. Over millions of years, human anatomy has undergone significant changes, many of which have been driven by the pressures of sexual selection and the need to adapt to diverse environments. This evolutionary trajectory has resulted in the complex sexual anatomy we observe in humans today. One of the most notable features of human sexual anatomy is the relatively large size of the male genitalia compared to other primates. This trait has been the subject of much speculation and study, with some theories suggesting that it is a result of female choice, indicating healthy and desirable mates. The size and shape of the genitalia can affect sperm competition and the likelihood of successful fertilization, making it a significant factor in human evolution. The evolution of the female reproductive system has also been influenced by various selective pressures. The hidden nature of human ovulation, unlike the conspicuous ovulation seen in many other primates, may have encouraged the development of pair bonds by making it more difficult for males to determine the most fertile period. This characteristic may have favored males who remained with a single partner, providing protection and resources throughout the entirety of the reproductive cycle. Breasts in human females are unique among primates in that they are permanent and not just enlarged during lactation. The evolutionary reasons for this are not fully understood, but hypotheses suggest that breasts may have developed as a front-facing counterpart to the buttocks, becoming an additional sexual signal as humans evolved to face each other during copulation. The positioning of human sexual organs has evolved in tandem with bipedalism. The relocation of reproductive organs to the front of the body in both sexes corresponds with the upright posture of humans. This anatomical arrangement facilitates face-to-face intercourse, which can strengthen emotional bonds between partners, a feature that is relatively rare among mammals. The human menstrual cycle is another distinctive feature of sexual anatomy, with its relatively long duration and conspicuous nature. Unlike many mammals that have an estrous cycle and are only sexually receptive during ovulation, human females can be sexually active throughout the menstrual cycle, decoupling sexual activity from reproduction alone, which may have implications for social bonding and pair formation. Human sexual anatomy has evolved to support not just reproduction, but also the needs of offspring after birth. The female pelvis, for instance, has evolved to accommodate the demands of giving birth to large-brained infants while also allowing for efficient bipedal locomotion. This compromise between childbirth and mobility has resulted in the uniquely human process of childbirth, which requires careful management and support. The development of secondary sexual characteristics during puberty is a key aspect of human sexual anatomy and evolution. These traits, which include the growth of pubic hair and changes in body shape, are not directly involved in reproduction, but signal sexual maturity and readiness for mating, playing a critical role in sexual attraction and behavior. Sperm competition has also played a role in the evolution of human sexual anatomy. The testes, for instance, are external to the body in a scrotum, which helps regulate temperature for optimal sperm production. The shape and function of the penis, including the glands and coronal ridge, have been hypothesized to have evolved to improve the chances of successful sperm transmission and retention. The human clitoris, an organ solely for sexual pleasure, is a remarkable aspect of female sexual anatomy. Its evolutionary purpose is not fully understood, but it may contribute to sexual selection by encouraging sexual activity, which can promote pair bonding and increase the likelihood of conception through repeated intercourse. The evolution of human sexual anatomy is a reflection of the complex interplay between reproductive needs, environmental adaptations, and the nuances of human sexual behavior. From the development of external genitalia to the intricate processes of the menstrual cycle, each aspect of our sexual anatomy holds clues to our evolutionary past. Understanding these features provides a deeper insight into the biological underpinnings of human sexuality and the ongoing evolutionary processes that shape us. 4.6 Sex for pleasure, beyond reproduction. The pursuit of sexual pleasure is a significant aspect of human behavior that extends beyond the primary biological imperative of reproduction. While the reproductive function of sex is fundamental to the survival of the species, human sexuality is unique in its capacity for providing pleasure, fostering intimacy, and reinforcing social bonds. This section explores the multifaceted role of sex for pleasure in human life and its implications. Human beings are among the few species that engage in sexual activity not solely for procreation. The ability to derive pleasure from sex is a powerful motivational force and serves various psychological and social functions. The pleasure experienced during sex can be attributed to the body's physiological responses, orchestrated by a complex interplay of hormones, nerves, and blood flow, particularly in areas rich in nerve endings like the clitoris and penis. The evolutionary advantages of sex for pleasure are manifold. Engaging in sex frequently, regardless of fertility cycles, increases the likelihood of conception during fertile periods. Moreover, sexual pleasure promotes pair bonding between partners, creating stable units that are conducive to raising offspring. The secretion of hormones such as oxytocin during sexual activity strengthens emotional connections and can enhance cooperative behavior between individuals. Cultural attitudes towards sex for pleasure vary widely, with historical and modern narratives often oscillating between acceptance and taboo. In many societies, the enjoyment of sex has been celebrated and incorporated into cultural practices and rites. Conversely, other societies have placed restrictions on sexual activity, associating it strictly with reproduction and sometimes even discouraging the pursuit of pleasure. The recognition of sexual pleasure as a fundamental aspect of human experience is crucial for sexual health and rights advocacy. Acknowledging that individuals seek sex for reasons beyond procreation supports the development of sexual health resources that address a wider range of needs, including contraception, sexual dysfunction treatments, and the right to consensual sexual expression. Sexual pleasure also plays a therapeutic role in human health and well-being. It has been associated with various physical and psychological benefits, such as stress reduction, improved sleep quality, and increased feelings of happiness and satisfaction. The release of endorphins during sexual activity can act as a natural pain reliever, and regular sexual activity has been linked with certain long-term health benefits. In the context of relationships, sex for pleasure can be a significant factor in maintaining connection and satisfaction between partners. Sexual activity can be an expression of love, commitment, and mutual care, reinforcing the bond that partners share. Discrepancies in the desire for sexual pleasure can, however, present challenges in relationships, highlighting the need for open communication and understanding between partners. The commercialization of sex for pleasure is evident in the widespread availability of products and services designed to enhance sexual experiences. The market for sex toys, erotic literature, and adult entertainment reflects the high value that modern societies place on sexual pleasure. While such commercialization can promote a healthy acceptance of pleasure-seeking behavior, it also raises concerns about objectification and the commodification of sexuality. Sexual education plays a critical role in shaping attitudes towards sex for pleasure. Comprehensive sex education that includes information about pleasure, consent, and mutual respect can empower individuals to engage in fulfilling sexual experiences. It also challenges myths and misconceptions about sexuality that can hinder the ability to experience pleasure. The pursuit of pleasure in sex has important implications for gender dynamics. Traditional gender roles often dictate differing entitlements and expectations regarding pleasure, with male pleasure frequently prioritized. Feminist movements challenge these disparities, advocating for the recognition of female sexual pleasure as equally important and valid. Sex for pleasure is a complex and vital component of human sexuality, imbued with biological, psychological, and social significance. The recognition and understanding of pleasure-seeking behavior in sex are essential for a holistic view of human sexuality. As societies progress, the discourse around sex for pleasure continues to evolve, influencing personal relationships, cultural practices, and sexual health policies. Embracing the multifaceted nature of sexuality, including the pursuit of pleasure, is key to fostering a more informed, respectful, and satisfying sexual experience for individuals and couples alike. 4.7 Homosexuality in evolutionary context. The existence and persistence of homosexuality present an intriguing question within an evolutionary context. Traditional evolutionary theories emphasize reproductive success, so the prevalence of homosexuality, a non-reproductive sexual orientation, challenges these models to some extent. Understanding homosexuality from an evolutionary standpoint requires a multifaceted approach that considers genetic, social, and environmental factors. One theory that seeks to explain the evolutionary basis of homosexuality is the kin selection hypothesis. It proposes that genes promoting homosexuality may be advantageous if they simultaneously increase altruistic behaviors towards relatives. By enhancing the survival and reproductive success of close kin, these genes could be indirectly selected for, despite homosexuals generally having fewer offspring of their own. Another perspective suggests that homosexuality may confer social benefits that contribute to the survival of the group. Within social species, non-reproductive members can play crucial roles in group dynamics, such as caring for the young, gathering food, or maintaining social cohesion. In human societies, homosexual individuals might have historically filled important social roles that indirectly supported the reproductive success of the group. The concept of a gay gene has been explored, but no single genetic marker has been definitively linked to homosexuality. It's more likely that a combination of genetic factors, possibly interacting with environmental influences, contributes to sexual orientation. Genetics can influence a wide range of human traits, and sexual orientation may be similarly complex and multifactorial. Some researchers have explored the idea that homosexual behavior is a byproduct of an adaptive trait. For instance, the same genetic factors that promote increased fertility in females might also lead to a higher likelihood of homosexuality in their male offspring. Such traits could be preserved through evolutionary processes if their overall contribution to genetic fitness is positive. Sexual fluidity also plays a role in evolutionary theories of homosexuality. Rather than being fixed, human sexuality may be more flexible and context-dependent. This fluidity could have provided adaptive advantages in different environments, allowing individuals to form sexual and emotional bonds that bolstered survival irrespective of the presence of the opposite sex. Balancing selection is a mechanism that could explain the persistence of homosexuality in a population. This form of selection maintains diversity within a gene pool, which can be advantageous for a population's adaptability. Traits associated with homosexuality may be preserved through balancing selection if they enhance survival in certain contexts or in combination with other genes. From a sociobiological perspective, homosexuality can be seen as part of the natural variation in any population. Just as there is diversity in traits like height or skin color, so there might be diversity in sexual orientation. This variation doesn't necessarily have to have an adaptive explanation. It could simply be part of the spectrum of human sexuality. The role of epigenetics in sexual orientation has gained interest, with some studies suggesting that epigenetic marks, which can be influenced by environmental factors, might play a role in determining sexuality. These marks do not change the DNA sequence but can affect gene expression and could be heritable to some degree. Cross-cultural and historical perspectives show that homosexuality has been observed across various societies and time periods, suggesting that it is a natural part of human sexual expression. In some cultures, homosexual relationships have been integrated into social structures and rites, indicating that the evolutionary significance of sexuality extends beyond reproduction alone. The evolutionary context of homosexuality is complex and not fully understood. It likely involves a combination of genetic, environmental, social, and cultural factors. Evolutionary theories continue to evolve as new data and methodologies emerge, contributing to a broader understanding of human sexuality. The diversity of sexual orientations enriches the tapestry of human experience and underscores the complexity of our evolutionary history. 4.8 The evolution of sexual health. The concept of sexual health has evolved significantly throughout human history, influenced by changing societal norms, scientific discoveries, and cultural practices. Initially, discussions around sexual health were often limited to issues of reproductive capability and the absence of disease. Today, the definition has expanded to encompass a broader understanding that includes emotional, mental, and social well-being in relation to sexuality. Historically, sexual health was often synonymous with fertility and the capacity to produce offspring. Infertility was viewed through a lens of concern for the continuation of lineage and legacy, especially in cultures where inheritance and family name were of utmost importance. This perspective led to a focus on the reproductive organs and functions as the primary indicators of sexual health. With the advent of modern medicine, the understanding of sexual health began to include the identification and treatment of sexually transmitted infections, STIs. As knowledge of infectious diseases expanded, the development of treatments and preventative measures such as antibiotics and vaccines marked significant progress in sexual health care. The sexual revolution of the 1960s and 1970s brought about a significant shift in the way sexual health was perceived. With increased advocacy for birth control and the decoupling of sex from reproduction, there was a growing recognition of the importance of sexual rights and the freedom to enjoy sexual relationships without the fear of unintended pregnancies. The emergence of HIV/AIDS in the 1980s further transformed the landscape of sexual health. It highlighted the need for safe sex practices and the importance of public health campaigns in educating people about the risks of unprotected sex. This period underscored the critical role of sexual education in promoting health and preventing disease. The World Health Organization, WHO, has played a pivotal role in shaping the contemporary understanding of sexual health. The WHO's definition emphasizes a positive and respectful approach to sexuality and sexual relationships, as well as the possibility of having pleasurable and safe sexual experiences, free of coercion, discrimination, and violence. In recent decades, there has been an increasing recognition of the psychological aspects of sexual health. Issues such as sexual consent, body image, sexual orientation, and gender identity are now understood to be integral to an individual's sexual well-being. This holistic view acknowledges that sexual health is not solely about physical symptoms or diseases, but includes psychological and emotional satisfaction and safety. The role of education and communication in sexual health has become more pronounced. Open discussions and access to information are seen as key tools in enabling individuals to make informed decisions about their sexual lives. This includes understanding consent, recognizing abusive behaviors, and knowing one's rights in sexual relationships. Advancements in reproductive technologies and contraceptives have also influenced the evolution of sexual health. The availability of various birth control methods has given individuals greater autonomy over their reproductive lives, contributing to better health outcomes for women and families. The evolution of sexual health is also marked by the growing advocacy for the rights of marginalized communities, including LGBTQ+ individuals, sex workers, and those living with HIV/AIDS. The push for inclusive healthcare that addresses the needs of these communities is a testament to the expanding scope of what constitutes sexual health. The evolution of sexual health reflects a journey from a limited focus on reproduction and disease to a comprehensive framework that encompasses a full spectrum of physical, psychological, and social components. This evolution is ongoing, with continued efforts needed to ensure that sexual health services and education are accessible, inclusive, and respectful of all individuals' rights and diverse needs. As our understanding of human sexuality deepens, so too does our approach to fostering healthy sexual lives that contribute to overall human well-being. 4.9 Sex and Lifespan, Evolutionary Perspectives. The relationship between sex and lifespan from an evolutionary perspective offers a rich area of study, intertwining the biological imperatives of reproduction with the broader processes of aging and longevity. Evolutionary theories attempt to understand how reproductive strategies influence the lifespan of organisms and how sexual behavior might be adapted over an individual's life to optimize survival and reproductive output. One foundational theory in evolutionary biology related to lifespan is the concept of life history trade-offs. Organisms face trade-offs between growth, maintenance, and reproduction. Energy invested in reproduction is energy that cannot be used for growth or repair, which suggests that there might be a balance to strike between the reproductive effort and the maintenance of bodily functions over the lifespan. The disposable soma theory posits that there is an evolutionary trade-off between reproduction and somatic maintenance, the latter of which determines lifespan. According to this theory, an organism allocates resources to somatic maintenance only as far as it benefits reproductive success. Thus, once reproductive potential diminishes with age, investment in maintenance decreases, leading to aging and eventual death. From this perspective, sex plays a direct role in shaping lifespan. For example, in many species including humans, females live longer than males. This has been hypothesized to be due to the differing reproductive strategies of the sexes, with females often investing more heavily in a few offspring, as opposed to males, who may invest in seeking multiple mating opportunities. In humans, menopause is a unique evolutionary feature related to sex and lifespan. Unlike most other species, human females have a significant post-reproductive lifespan. Evolutionary biologists have proposed several explanations for this, including the grandmother hypothesis, which suggests that older women can enhance the survival of their genes by investing in their grandchildren. Sexual selection pressures throughout an individual's life can also impact lifespan. Traits that are advantageous for reproduction early in life might have deleterious effects on longevity. For example, high levels of testosterone may be beneficial for male competition and attraction of mates in youth, but could have negative effects on health in later years. The concept of antagonistic pleiotropy suggests that some genes may have multiple effects, beneficial in early life for reproduction but harmful in later life, contributing to aging. For example, genes that promote high fertility might also increase the risk of certain diseases after the reproductive years. The role of sexual activity and its frequency over the lifespan have been studied in relation to health and longevity. While the causality is complex, sexual activity has been associated with various health benefits, including reduced stress, improved cardiovascular health, and increased longevity, potentially affecting the evolutionary perspectives on sex and lifespan. Evolutionary perspectives on lifespan also consider the role of infectious diseases, which historically have been a significant factor in mortality. Sexual behavior influences the transmission of pathogens, and over evolutionary time, this has likely shaped human reproductive strategies and life histories, including mechanisms to combat infection and their relationship to reproductive biology. The evolution of pair bonding and monogamous relationships in humans may also have implications for lifespan. Long-term partnerships can provide mutual health benefits, such as shared resources and caregiving, which can contribute to increased longevity and have influenced the evolution of human social structures around sex and reproduction. Sex is inextricably linked to the evolutionary considerations of lifespan. The ways in which reproductive strategies and sexual behaviors interact with aging are complex and multifaceted. Evolutionary biology provides a framework for understanding these relationships, offering insights into why certain reproductive patterns emerge and how they might influence the length and quality of life. Understanding the evolutionary context of sex and lifespan continues to be an important area of research, with implications for both evolutionary theory and the development of health interventions aimed at maximizing lifespan and well-being. 4.10 Future evolutionary changes in human sexuality. Predicting the future evolutionary changes in human sexuality is a speculative endeavor, as evolution is a slow process shaped by many unpredictable factors. However, by examining current trends and scientific understanding, we can make educated guesses about the directions in which human sexuality might evolve. These potential changes will be influenced by a complex interplay of biological, environmental, social, and technological factors. One area where we might see evolutionary changes is in sexual dimorphism, the physical differences between sexes. As the roles of men and women in society continue to converge, and as physical strength becomes less critical for survival, The evolutionary pressures that lead to pronounced differences between the sexes may diminish, potentially leading to more physical androgyny over many generations. Sexual selection may continue to evolve in response to changing societal norms. Traits that are currently considered attractive could change, leading to different sexual selection pressures. For instance, as society places greater value on intellectual and emotional intelligence, these traits may become more sexually attractive, influencing reproductive choices and, consequently, the genetic makeup of the population. The development of technology and its integration into human life may also drive future changes in sexuality. With the advent of virtual reality, robotics, and AI, human sexual experience could become increasingly mediated by technology, potentially affecting sexual behavior and preferences. This shift could have implications for reproduction if virtual or robotic sexual experiences become preferred over human interactions for some individuals. Changes in the environment and global health may also influence the evolution of human sexuality. For example, if climate change leads to widespread disease or resource scarcity, traits that confer resistance to disease or the ability to thrive in altered environments could become more sexually attractive. This could result in a selection for genetic diversity, as diverse gene pools are often more resilient to environmental stresses. The prevalence of assisted reproductive technologies (ART), such as in vitro fertilization (IVF), and genetic screening could affect evolutionary paths as well. These technologies might lead to a form of selection where genetic traits can be chosen, bypassing traditional evolutionary mechanisms. The long-term impact of ART on human evolution is not yet fully understood, but is a subject of much speculation and debate. Medicine's increasing ability to treat and manage previously life-limiting conditions means that traits that might have reduced reproductive success in the past could become more common in the gene pool. This could lead to a broader genetic diversity in the population, with a wider range of physical and mental traits being represented. The understanding and acceptance of different sexual orientations and gender identities are also likely to influence the future of human sexuality. With reduced stigma and greater acceptance, individuals may feel more freedom to express a wider range of sexual behaviors and partnerships, which could have social and genetic implications over time. Fertility patterns may shift in response to societal changes, such as the trend toward having children later in life. Delayed reproduction could lead to different selection pressures for traits related to fertility and longevity. As women continue to have children at older ages, there could be evolutionary consequences, such as genetic mutations that extend reproductive lifespan becoming more prevalent. The future evolutionary changes in human sexuality are likely to be influenced by a myriad of factors. While it is difficult to predict specific outcomes, it is clear that human sexuality will continue to evolve in response to changing environmental, social, and technological landscapes. These changes will reflect the ongoing adaptability and diversity that are hallmarks of the human species, as we navigate the complexities of reproduction and relationships in an ever-changing world.